Hello, and welcome to round 2 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast. I'm Terry Morrow, and I'm here with Catherine Haleko. Say hi, Catherine.
Hello.
Usually on this podcast, we talk about parenting issues, but once a week, Catherine and I like to get together to discuss TV, movies, books, and other entertainment topics because it's nice to talk about something other than parenting for a change. This week, we continued our Good Place watch with The Funeral to End All Funerals, and to the West Wing episode, Welcome to Wherever You Are. But first, Dancing with the Stars. So, Dancing with the Stars semifinals. That didn't go the way I thought it would.
It sure didn't. And it was just... I was flashing back to Dancing with the Stars Juniors because the whole downfall started with James's daughter just crying her little eyes out.
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
Then Hannah danced. Okay, fine, Hannah.
Well, no, wait. First, James's daughter cried her little eyes out, and then he got 9s.
Right.
Now, when Kel did his dance, I thought this is very clever, because you do a dance about gun violence, they can't give you less than 10 for that. Mm-hmm. You got to give 10s to the... And then when James had told his story, which was very moving, and I loved the way he talked about it, but it's like, well, you can't give him less than 10s now, right? But they could.
They sure could, yeah.
What? Yeah, okay, then continue.
Well, and then you get to the end, and it's James and Allie in the bottom 2.
Yes.
And as you said as we talked about last week, they've been overscoring her so much.
Oh my goodness.
And then they actually pick her to go through, like...
Yes.
What? Have you not been watching the last 10 weeks? Like, he's been the best one the whole entire time.
Yeah, but they have not been scoring him that way. That's the thing. I mean, they could have just said, well, America has spoken and put her in the bottom 2. And how few votes must she be getting to be in the bottom 2 with straight 10s constantly?
Right.
But I think they scored themselves into a corner because you can't give somebody all these perfect scores and then send them home.
Right.
They have to go with her because, and also, it's not like they've also been giving James perfect scores. He got 8s and 9s. He was at the bottom of the leaderboard. Right. So they have made it clear who they think is a better dancer, mind-bogglingly.
Right. I don't know.
So I can see where they can't really do anything else, but it's so wrong on so many levels, and oh my goodness. It's like last year was the most outrageous result of any. It could never be worse than this, and the producer said, hold our beer. And, you know, we thought any outrage would have to do with Sean Spicer, but they said, no. We don't need him.
Yeah.
We can set Twitter on fire without
some
that.
other way. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, wow. I think Allie is so sweet, and, you know, she displayed that by, like, immediately saying, no, please, let me give it to him.
Yes.
I mean, and yes, like you said, she has to think, like, oh, God, everyone's going to hate me. But yes. I think, to me, I felt like she really felt that way even before she had a chance to draw that line, you know, she was like, but no, this isn't right.
I mean, unless she was personally delivering these suitcases full of unmarked bills to the judges, it's not her fault that things are going the way they are, and yet she is going to get just so much hate. Yeah. And I don't hate her. She seems perfectly nice, but she's not perfect. The scores are ridiculous. Yeah. And if they did want, you know, if you buy all the conspiracies and the fixes in and the producers want her to win, goodness gracious, they could have been a little subtle about it. You know, they could give her a 10 here and there, but it's just this constant cavalcade of perfection when even the untrained eye can see stumbles and missed steps.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to stop watching the show because of this. It's fun and it's pretty. And the stakes are so extremely low that it seems silly to get mad about it. But, you know, every time somebody says the judges' score should hold more weight than the voters because they know what they're doing, I'm going to submit this episode as Exhibit A. Come on. It's just ridiculous. Yeah. It's just so not good. And, I
know.
And just heartbreaking that, thanks for coming back there, James, but you can go back.
All right.
Go on back to the hospital now. We don't need you here. Yeah. I mean, to some degree, probably it's better that he be with his family and maybe he doesn't need this extra source of stress, but
yeah.
No. It's just both the overscoring of Allie and the underscoring of James were egregious. So it was such a bad way to go.
Yeah.
Hi.
Tragic.
Yeah, I mean, and tragic in the extremely small terms of a silly dance show. Right. And really what his family has been through this week makes it seem silly to stress over this at all. It's clear what's important, but you could have, you didn't have to make it worse, Dancing with the Stars. Come on.
I mean, like you said, Kel gets 10s. I don't know. And it was pretty, the Kel's dance. I agreed. It was moving and it was well done and, but.
Honestly, I muted the judges tonight because it's just, they're not going to say anything I'm going to care about. Once I saw that they were giving James 9s on that dance, which I thought was beautiful and very emotional. And, as great as he has been all through the season, he has been spectacular.
Right, he's been so good.
So, in the end, regardless of who gets the mirror ball, James's stock goes way up, and I'm afraid Allie's stock is going to go way down. So, be careful what you wish for, kid. And I was all prepared to accept an Allie win as a Sasha win and be happy for him. But now I don't know what's going to happen because people are ticked.
Yeah.
there's like a lot of vitriol going to be flung around, and people are going to be determined to see her lose. So, and
which is too bad.
I feel bad. Yeah, it's not her fault. Right. I don't think. Yeah. But clearly, something ain't right. I try not to buy in the conspiracies usually, but it's just weird. So, on to the finals!
Can't wait!
Oh, man. Wow. So, on The Good Place, we watched the episode The Funeral to End All Funerals, which sounds like a happy, fun episode if ever I heard one. But I liked the funeral part of this. The funeral part of this episode made me very happy. That sounds unfortunate.
Yeah, and it was actually
It was adorable.
Were fun and funny and clever, cute. Yeah. All the funerals.
I found myself hoping, could this be one of the episodes where something's happening that we're afraid of, but we're not going to actually see it in this episode, that we're just going to see something going on someplace else? Seems to me like they've done that before. I kept hoping we would just stay with our cockroaches, having their little funerals and saying nice things about each other and getting back that good feeling of them all being together and friends that we had in earlier episodes. But no, we had to keep flipping back to the high concept part.
Right. But, Janet is awesome, so an army of Janets is fun.
Janets are awesome. Yes, yeah. That was unexpected and fun, and we called it.
Yes, well, you did. Beginning. Well, I guess we both did.
We both did.
Sort of.
I think we discussed that I thought that would happen, and you said yes, you thought that too, and so then we mentioned it on the next episode.
That we thought that something to do with that book that Michael had given the bad Janet would come back in some way. So yes, that is what happened.
To keep that episode from being just a complete and utter waste of time.
Right.
So it is, I suppose, worth it for an army of empowered Janets.
Including the roller disco Janet.
Yes.
Which they must have spent at least an hour just on her hair.
Yes, I think so.
To that size.
And apparently there's been previous mention of it, Disco Janet, but I do not recall.
I don't either.
I don't know why all the Janets wouldn't just look like Janet in perpetuity.
Well, right. Because there's either neutral Janet, bad Janet, or good Janet.
Mm-hmm.
There's never... Right. I mean, we've seen sometimes them have, like, little variations on the outfit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, based on whether... But they're still just a basic good Janet or bad Janet.
It was just something fun for them to do, which is fine. At this point in the season, that's fine. And it was an unexpected twist to have Janet's come to the rescue in that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Maya Rudolph is always really, really funny as the judge. And if they want to just, you know, spend 10 minutes of their show letting her riff, I'm not going to object to that. It's, you know, I liked this better than I have liked some of them, because at least it's moving to something, I guess, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little concerned that the end game of this show is going to be a bunch of Hollywood writers coming up with what they think the value system of the world should be like.
Yeah.
But I feel like we have enough of that already. But we'll see. Still keeping faith in you, Mike Shore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that this will come out as something that will be funny and heartwarming and smart and not with an agenda.
Right. I mean, Parks and Rec took kind of a big swing at the end there. And all was well, right?
Yes. Parks and Rec was never quite as full of itself as this show seems to be sometimes, but I guess it could be. Maybe it's just I generally enjoy the Good Place podcast, and it's fun to hear some of the behind-the-scenes stuff on this, but especially as it gets towards the end, boy, are they proud of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, on one level, of course, they should be. It's a very good show, but, you know, humility is a virtue also.
It's a little tiresome week in and week out.
Yes. You know, there have been other good shows on network television, you guys. Please stop. Please stop acting like there has never been anything like this ever before. It is unique and it is brilliant, but there have been other unique and brilliant things in all sorts of formats. And, you know, we shouldn't feel like there should be The Good Place, the podcast drinking game where you drink every time they say, you wouldn't see this on network television.
Yeah, because then we'd all be
on your couch.
We'd all be passed out and game over.
So, you know, I think you guys are losing points in the big tally with this podcast. You might want to pull it up a little bit there by the end. But, you know, but the show, this episode had a lot of good things. It had a lot of things I liked. It had a lot of very clever and fun things and unexpected things. So, okay, let's move on.
Right.
I do wonder, there was a seed planted, I think, in the episode before this, that all of a sudden Jason's metaphors were getting really good, and they were even better in this one. He was remarkably lucid most of the time. So it does make me wonder if there's something going on there. I don't think that he's a demon in a Jason suit, because I think Janet would know. But maybe there's going to be something about the constant. I mean, maybe it's a situation like, what's his name? The Mindy's boyfriend.
Derek.
Derek. Maybe it's a Derek situation where the more afterlives he has, it pulls him up to a different level. The better he gets, or the smarter he gets, or something.
Right.
But they do seem to, his dialogue does seem to be a little different.
Yes. Yeah, like as if he's getting rebooted, sort of.
Yeah, yeah. It's just, I mean, he's still, his frames of reference are still the same, but it's not, whereas he used to just pull something out of absolutely nowhere. Now the stuff kind of makes sense. You know, like I think that the Big C thing, I mean, it was very Jason-y to say that he's actually referring to a crocodile. That was old school Jason.
Right.
And he's like, no, just kidding, it was really cancer. That's not something that Jason had in the past, I don't think.
Right.
And also, do we think that Jason Mendoza would know about the stages of grief? That seems a little bit out of his league, too, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, so maybe he's a Janet in a Jason suit. Is that a possible thing?
Ooh.
I don't know. I'm looking for a flashback to what really happened when they hand-carted back into town. Maybe there's some game afoot, and they figure, well, this guy's got a big void. Maybe we can hide something in there. So I hope that there will be something to that, as there was with the book.
Right.
You know, I assume they're planting these things for a reason. So
not too many more episodes to find out what they're doing.
Not too many more, but more than one.
Yes. Even though it's called The Answer, the next one.
Exactly.
Psych, not really.
Very easy to find out. Yes. Yes. Another podcast where they'll say, normally this would be the end. Can you believe this isn't the end? And it's like, yeah, because I can count to 13.
Plus, it's not the first time they've done this,
Exactly.
or the fourth or fifth. So, yeah.
TV is not a mystery anymore. We're not in the days where you wouldn't know if something was ending until you saw it in TV Guide. It's quite easy to find out these things. Well, speaking of places good and bad, on the West Wing, we watched the episode Welcome to Wherever You Are, where the Santos campaign was all the heck over the place.
Mm-hmm. And presumably
Bon Jovi.
the Vinnick campaign was too, but we weren't traveling with them.
So. We weren't, yes. We didn't have the shaky handheld camera on the Vinnick campaign, only on the Santoses. Yeah. And, the busyness of them kind of made me want to do what Matt's son did there at the end. Just, this is too much.
Yeah, the whole episode was just stressful to watch. Because
yes, it was.
I just had such a pit in my stomach the whole time. Just
how much Halloween candy did you eat, Catherine?
None.
Yeah. Did Jon Bon Jovi buy you ice cream too?
No, he didn't.
I really liked the opener where they're all walking in and Kristen Chenoweth is singing.
Yeah.
And we know it's because they wanted to have an excuse for Kristen Chenoweth to sing. But within the scene, it also kind of made sense. Yeah. Although, her singing made sense. Her and Leo. Okay.
I still, I don't get that, and I really don't feel like the show has said that. I don't know. Now they're saying it because they're having Donna and Helen and everybody say it, but to me, it just came out of thin air. I didn't believe it. So
no, it has the sound of something that they said in the writer's room. Wouldn't this be funny if? And so they just drop it in every now and then without doing any character work whatsoever to make it seem logical.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was not good. But everything, I just really enjoyed the intro, the whole kind of kinetic feeling of it. And they're, all these things are going on and they're making jokes. Everybody's riffing back and forth on what each other are saying. And that was real fun. But then it kept going through the entire episode.
Yeah.
And after a while, I guess it's meant to make us feel like,
right, what it would be like
as the Santos campaigners felt. But I have to say kudos to the makeup department for making Jimmy Smits look just a little bit less pretty there at the end when he's supposed to be exhausted enough to drop. They got the dark circles under the eyes in there really nice. And he's still gorgeous, but
they were quite significant.
Got a little bit of soot there. Worked out good.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the other plot with Toby. Man, nobody does Eeyore like Richard Schiff. He just... And even though Andy is absolutely in the right and making tons of sense, you just was, but look at him. Come on, give the man a hug. Be proud of the way he's standing up for him. How can you be so mean? Look at him. Yeah. You're pulling Eeyore's ears. Don't do that.
Yeah.
I just feel, that whole plot, I just can't with it.
Right.
It continues, as they pointed out on the West Wing Weekly podcast, it continues to not make that much sense.
No.
Because it's bad writing and bad character work and should never have happened. It's an abomination.
Yes.
But, his acting is certainly just makes me so sad for Toby.
Right.
And I don't understand why this second indictment and their questioning of Leo and CJ would completely, destroy the election. But Toby saying, hey, it was Leo or CJ would not. Would not that be as big a scandal?
Yeah. Well, I think it would be worse.
Would they just not release it for a while?
Well, I feel like it would...
It seems to me like the best way to protect everybody is to just keep your mouth shut. It's going to be bad no matter what.
Well, I think because he was using... The prosecutor was using it as a threat. Yes. Like, because he knew that he wasn't going to dime out those other people. So it just was like, then I'll get you some other way, and this is how I'm going to do it.
Well, yeah, but the alternative is for Toby to say, yeah, it was one of those people.
Right.
And then it's a definite scandal instead of a speculative scandal.
But I feel like the prosecutor knew that it wasn't.
He wasn't going to
say that.
Yeah, that U.S. attorney that actor was, you just want to punch him in the face.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty much. This is the direction given to him. All right. Just act in such a way that people who love Toby will want to punch you in the face, okay? Mm-hmm. Go. And he did an excellent job.
Yeah. When he said, like, I left a crying 6-year-old in a Snow White costume or whatever, he said, like, oh, sure you did. Come on.
It was Dorothy.
Yeah, Dorothy.
Do 6-year-olds dress up as Dorothy anymore?
Yeah, they might.
I don't know. Yeah, so that's all still a thing that's coming on. I have to say I was extremely irate that they spent the entire episode promising us Nancy McNally, yes. And we never saw her.
They didn't hire Anna Deavere Smith after all. They were just talking about her.
I was thinking, oh, this is cool. We're going to get a little Anna Deavere Smith. Isn't that wonderful? They brought her back. But no, only her name. Mm-hmm. You could have used just some anonymous name that we'd never heard of, and it would have been fine.
Right. Very sneaky.
Yeah, that was offensive. So... but all in all, I think I liked the episode better than the West Wing Weekly podcast did. Mm-hmm. I thought it was perfectly fine and very campaigny and sort of interesting to imagine what that is like. Interesting thing, as you go to watch the next episode, the opener for the next episode, I thought was the last scene of this episode. Mm. And I was waiting for it, and it would have called back to something that happened earlier in the episode. And it would have made a nice cliffhanger from one episode to the next. And yet the episode ended and it wasn't there. So Netflix obligingly just served me up the next episode. And sure enough, there was that scene I had been expecting at the beginning of the next episode where the cliffhanger goes over the credits. Which is weird. So it makes me wonder whether they had planned to put it in the previous episode. And because it should be. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about it next week. It belonged there.
Right.
And it makes me wonder what happened. They just ran out of time and they said, oh, well, what the heck, we'll just make this the opener of the next one and then you'll find out right away.
Right.
What happens. It's like, well, that's less fun,
Yeah.
So that was disorienting to me because I was looking forward to that scene at the end and did not get it.
It was not there.
Yeah.
Well, now I want to go watch it.
Yes. Well, you have to watch the opener and then you have to watch through the credits and then you have to see where it comes up from that. What comes after the credits should have been the beginning of the next episode and everybody would have gone, oh, right. Look what happened.
Okay.
So, I guess it's not that cliffhanger-y. It's kind of clear what's going to happen, but still. It should have been at the end of this episode. Anyway, with that teaser.
Yeah.
We will say that next week we're going to continue with the Dancing with Stars finals. There's a cliffhanger. Mm-hmm. And episode 9 of The Good Place, The Answers, also, I suppose, a cliffhanger. Every one of these episodes is going to be.
Yeah.
Do you suppose that the judge finds the Earth Ender and marbleizes all the Janets? I'm sure that's what's going to happen. It seems clear.
There's a lot of Janets.
It is, but she shut them off. The rest of them have to find a way to get through. Mm-hmm. And we will also watch the next West Wing episode, which is Election Part 1. It is finally the election. We are finally there. There are 6 more episodes left after this. And that is going to be it for our Round 2 today. Please subscribe to our Parenting Roundabout podcast so you won't miss any of our episodes. We have something new for you every weekday. As always, you can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. Goodbye, Catherine.
Bye, Terry.
Goodbye, everybody.